Yo, what is up, everybody? Igami N7 here from the Marshmallow fan club. You know what it is, and today we have a Slushy Daedalus slash burn deck profile for you guys. The strategy, like the overall game plan, is a little cheesy, but it does work, so pay attention. Basically, we want to use Daedalus's effect, which, if you don't know, you summon him, you send an Umi from the field spell zone to the graveyard, and you destroy every other card on the field. And then you'll pretty much be able to attack directly for 2600. And then the burn aspect is basically until you manage to set up that play, which typically requires a little bit of setup, you want to kind of burn them so that when Daedalus does deal to 2600, it'll be lethal. So that's kind of the game plan. Let's jump into the deck. Our skill is Shadow Reborn. This is going to let us revive a monster from either graveyard, pay half our life points, but not be able to deal battle damage. That last part is why it's not ideal, because as we said, the game plan is to summon Daedalus and attack an empty board for game. But you gotta prepare for the worst case, and sometimes this will just like summon Daedalus right when you need him. Even if you won't win like the turn you Shadow Reborn, it'll change the tempo in your favor and you will eventually win. So yeah, it's just a really good skill to have. It allows us to get one of our like combo pieces out pretty consistently, so that's why it's there. Anywho, onto the deck, we got two Daedalus, so I already spoke about him, I won't ramble on too much, but he's our boss monster. We got three Slushy. This is what is going to allow us to summon Daedalus aside from the skill without having to tribute summon more often than not. So he requires two monsters to tribute, which is kind of costly, but if we get him in the graveyard along with three Slushies, while there are three Slushies in our graveyard and banish pile, so you could have like two in the graveyard, one in the banish pile, etc. As long as there's three outside of the deck in the game, like the general board, you can banish one from your graveyard to the banish pile and revive a level 5 or higher sea serpent, which in our case is Daedalus, right? So what you want to do is get three of them in your graveyard and or banished, but at least have one in the graveyard so that you can banish, and then you'll be able to revive a Daedalus from your graveyard. So if you get three of them in the graveyard with a Daedalus, you can summon Daedalus 3 times for free, basically. So even if they manage to deal with him with like an offering, a floodgate, whatever, you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you get your play to send Umi and nuke the board. So yep, that's basically what Slushy's role is. And then when it's summoned, it can pitch a Slushy from deck to grave. So that just helps with the setup. It's 0/0. We're going to talk about that. We can sometimes use that to our advantage with creature swap. But yeah, that's Slushy. We got three Screech. This is just another consistency piece. 1500 isn't too great as a stat, but if it gets destroyed by battle, you could send two water monsters from deck to grave. So right, you can imagine you summon Slushy, it sends a Slushy. Eventually it'll get destroyed by battle because of its bad stats. If a Screech gets destroyed, that'll send your last Slushy and Daedalus, and boom, you can pop off. So basically, like two monsters set up our whole combo hypothetically. So we're playing it at 3. It's just to enable the combo, and if it can deal any damage, that's great. But don't expect it. We got two Cyber Valley. This is a very interesting card I've been finding. So it's A, to help us stall until our Daedalus play is ready. So if it gets targeted for an attack, you banish it and end the battle phase like then and there. But also, Nightmare Wheels are very common in the format, and sometimes one of your monsters is going to get Nightmare Wheeled. You can use its second effect to banish itself and a monster you control to draw two. So you'll be playing around the burn and then also like drawing, which isn't too bad either in a card game after all. So it's a very like interesting card. Funnily enough, it doesn't work with Umi because like Umi reduces the stats of machines, but it's already at 0/0. That's not why we're playing it. But yeah, I think it's a good card overall. So it's in there. We're playing one creature swap. As we said, this is for Slushy and also for Screech. So sometimes you'll notice like if you're playing, people are familiar with the deck, they'll be like, especially game 2 and 3, they'll know like your set monster is a Screech most likely, and they won't attack into it on purpose. So you can like creature swap your Slushy in attack position and then attack over it, or creature swap Screech and like you'll still get their effect when you destroy the Screech you gave them. But I will just say like one note of caution, if you give them a Slushy and they manage to like hold on to it in one way or another, that really kills your combo because you need to have all three engraved. So be very cautious when using it on your Slushy, but like when used at the right time, you would attack over a 0/0 monster and it goes to the grave, which is where you want it. So that's great. We're playing 2 Umi. It gives a little boost to our water monsters, but not Screech. Screech is a reptile, just note that. But it's mostly to enable Daedalus. Otherwise, we wouldn't be playing it. It's not really a great card, but we need it for our combo wombo, so it's in there at 2. If it was a great card, maybe we'd be playing a playset, but I think 2 is just right. We have 3 Waboku. This is A to stall and B to allow us to not fear summoning Slushy in attack position. So again, like we want to fill up the grave as quickly as possible. One of our means of doing so is through Slushy's first effect, which is when it's summoned, it can pitch a Slushy from deck to grave. But it's 0/0, so you don't want to like summon it and like now what? I'm stuck with a monster with no stats. So we have Waboku, like we get its effect off, and then in the draw phase, Waboku, really nice. We got a negate attack for a similar reason. It's only at 1 instead of 3 because this one can only be activated in the battle phase, so the likelihood of you actually getting it off is severely reduced, but it's still a good card, so we're playing it at 1. And then 2 Nightmare Wheel, 1 Zoma. We kind of spoke about this before. Basically, these are just like amazing cards in general, but especially in this format. So I feel like we'd be shooting ourselves in the leg if we were not to play them. But also, this will help us like get them to low enough life points to where a direct attack from Daedalus would be lethal. So if we could get a Nightmare Wheel for 3 turns, if we could get like a reasonable sized monster to attack over Zoma, all we need is that direct attack from Daedalus and boom, that's game. So they actually like fit in with the game plan really well, and then they're just really good cards in general. You know, if you have a Nightmare Wheel, like you can feel a bit more confident summoning a Slushy, things like that. So those are there for those reasons. Let's talk about the side deck. We got 2 Waking. We are playing a lot of annoying back row. If you see your opponent is using back row removal, these might be like reasonable to side, or if you're expecting a straight flush, this will allow you to like set a full back row quite confidently. Like you know they're gonna flush you, and you know at least you get Waking off, so it's not too bad. Then we got our own straight flush and Nobleman of Extermination. So Nobleman is really good in this format because a lot of traps that are not activatable are being played. So right, if you do this to a Zoma, they can just chain Zoma and nothing happens. But if you do this to a Floodgate, a Wall of D, a Nightmare Wheel, if it doesn't have anything to target, like you just got rid of all of them with 1 card. And then worst case, like worst case, it's like Zoma or something you can chain, right? But let's say you hit a spell like Book of Moon, like, okay, well, you destroyed that. Like, it's better than nothing. So, a really good card, circumstantial, but against the right deck, it could be exactly what you need. And then 1 straight flush, same thing. Like, if you use it smartly, let's say they have 2 back row set and then they activate a 3rd one, so you could like chain it to the activation. If you're playing Crystal Beasts, like certain matchups, you just know that 3rd slot is going to get used for sure. So it's really good. We're not playing any back row removal, you probably noticed. So our Daedalus summon will probably be interrupted once, twice, or thrice. Luckily we have, we can A, normal summon it, like tribute summon, B, revive it with the skill, and then C, revive it up to 3 times with Slushy. So even if they interrupt you the 1st, 2nd, 3rd time, you know, it'll still like work eventually, and we're stalling to make sure that even if it gets interrupted once, twice, or thrice, we're still gonna get that like lethal push when we need it. And then we're playing 2 Diffusion. I don't know, this could be Lost Wind. I just like Diffusion. There's certain matchups that it just serves you better than Lost Wind. And then with all the stalling cards like Waboku, Negate, Attack, whatever, like Ojama, things like that are just not as annoying, I find. So I just like Diffusion over Lost Wind in this deck because we're relying on Daedalus to nuke the field. It doesn't really matter what they get out, and we're stalling until that condition can fulfill itself. So that's the side deck, that's the main deck. Real quick, since it's more than just a bluff this time, can negate monster effects, really good for burn. Big monster with piercing. Turn 1, really good to block out your opponent's monster zones. If they're really aggressive, you can slow the pace of the game, which will help you kind of wait for your Daedalus play, and then, you know, at the right time, like can't be destroyed by battle or doubling its attack. Like could be exactly what you need. So these are just cover of like a vast array of options to when you'd want to summon them, assuming you can get your waking off. And I find that these are the best 6 to have at the moment with the current card pool. So anyways, that's the deck profile, and I'll show you some replays. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Redemption, misreflection, kiss the weapon, skip the lesson, cut an infection, mass confusion, air pollution, compromise, form contribution, mass epidemic, no mask, gonna mask, call the medic, go fast, do I last, empathetic, might crash, I'm a hack, empathetic, I know, times ain't changing, the sun won't show, when the trees won't grow, when the balls keep dropping, the fake tan on the TV, keep talking, just wanna be optimistic, my sanity's gone off ballistic, train was leaving, I just missed it, guess that I'm stuck with this shit down. I've done bad things to them too. Good people got no self-control. It's the root of my evil. Wage war in my head when I'm trying to keep it peaceful. A little feels good, a little more, and it's lethal. Save me from myself. I've been caught up in the riptide for too long, cause it's all I know. I've been letting this shit slide. These bad habits, they die too slow. I've been caught up in the riptide for too long, cause it's all I know. I've been letting this shit slide. But if you love me, let me go. I get high to leave all these problems on the ground. Then to my surprise, they're right there when I come back down. I do it like I've done before, a million times, a million and one, and I'll lose my mind. Save me from myself. I've been caught up in the riptide for too long, cause it's all I know. I've been letting this shit slide. These bad habits, they die too slow. I've been caught up in the riptide for too long, cause it's all I know. I've been letting this shit slide. But if you love me, let me go. But if you love me, let me go. Got pulled by the current till I'm running out of breath. Got dragged back down, feel the water in my chest. I tried getting better, did all of the 12 steps. Whoever would've thought, whoever could've guessed. The harder that I chase it, the further that it gets. The harder that I chase it. I've been caught up in the riptide for too long, cause it's all I know. I've been letting